to another episode of Young Man's Game. I'm Joaquin Gage. I'm lucky enough today to be joined by Dan Bowie from Ignite Heating and Air Conditioning. We're just going to get a little background of what Dan's gone through over the past 3 years. There's been some transformation from even moving locations. So, Dan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is great. So, what I'd like to do is just... everyone likes an origin story. Everyone likes the Marvel movies and stuff like that. Just give us your superhero story from when it started till now.
Okay. So I guess right after high school, I got into the trade. Just found out about a job opportunity at a company in Sherwood Park.
Okay.
Worked for the summer. Had no plans what I was going to do after. He asked me if I wanted to do an apprenticeship, and I said, how much does it pay? And he said $10 an hour. And I was like, boom,
yes.
I'm in.
That's great.
So just fast forward, I worked with them. I got my ticket. When we moved to Calgary for a short period of time and when we moved back, I was kind of in between jobs. And just a friend of mine said, hey, I got a realtor coming to town and he needs HVAC done in his house. Do you want to do it? And I said, yeah, I don't have a job, so let's do it. And then I met the builder on doing the next 3 houses, got those jobs, and it just kind of
snowballed from there. Yeah. So when was younger and you said, yo, $10 an hour, this is great. When did it really click that, you know what, this is what I'm good at, this is what I want to do? How did that start?
Good question. So 2002 was when I graduated, and I started at that summer job about 3 weeks after I graduated from high school.
Okay.
We did a quick road trip to Vancouver to see a concert and then went right to work.
Nice.
So, yeah. So it was probably about year 3. I'm not mechanically inclined.
Okay.
But I enjoyed what I was doing. I was actually considering leaving the trade, but I'd already finished 2 years, so I was halfway through.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my neighbor, and he's like, you know what, Dan, just do the 2 more years of schooling. You're gonna have a ticket that you can fall back on at any time, and he's like, you never know what the future holds. So I said, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. And I would say in between that 3rd and 4th year, it just kind of clicked for me.
Okay.
And it started becoming a little more natural. Like I wasn't struggling so much, and then it just, as I gained confidence and got my ticket. Obviously, just a few years after I got my ticket, I was willing to take on projects on my own, and yeah. So
it's probably a really relationship based too with clients and customers.
For sure.
I mean, going into people's home as a stranger basically, and having them to. Make them feel comfortable. Was that kind of I always think that 3 years, whenever you're doing something new, that's kind of the sweet spot where you start to figure out, you know what, I'm good at this. This is what I want to do. How did you transition there from, or was that a block to get over to get that confidence with clients?
Well, I'd say part of it's my personality too. But like you said, it's confidence in what you're talking about. So between my personality and the confidence that I when I was speaking about furnaces and air conditioners, I think I gained the trust. And it's actually a little bit surprising how much trust people gave me, because I would get keys to houses and codes to alarm systems and just total access to the house, and it's kind of crazy to think about, because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Maybe one of my buddies or something, but still. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, like, you've moved locations. Obviously, that was a big transition too. You're getting out on your own. So what was that like, and when did you kind of make that decision?
Yeah. So. As I said earlier, with that transition from like in between jobs and just starting to do a couple things on the side, it was during that time that just a few of my friends and family found out that I was going on my own.
Okay.
So the phone just started ringing a little bit.
Nice.
And so my wife was just coming off maternity leave with our second daughter, and she's a chartered accountant. So the plan was that she would go back to work full time. I had a few buddies that were firefighters, so I would use them just kind of as laborers.
Yeah.
I had a few friends that were stay-at-home moms, and so they offered to take the kids whenever I needed
perfect.
it. So I'd find a job, I'd drop the kids off in the morning, I'd pick up a helper, go do the work, and my wife would pick up the kids on the way home, and I would get home at who knows what time. So we did that for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And that at that point we kind of realized like this is something that like the door seems to be opening this way. This is something that we could do. So my wife left her job and she took up some contract work.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was working weekends in order to deal with the kids during the day. And I joined a BNI group.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a business networking international.
You bet.
And I've been in that same BNI group now for, this will be my 12th year.
Wow.
And through the support of other business owners there, and just kind of growing my name as we could. About 2.5 years, we then incorporated to Ignite Heating from DJB Heating, which is my initials,
Okay.
and we were just a sole provider.
Okay.
But my wife is being a chartered accountant, she's very business focused. So we also at that time were like, is DJB sellable? Like, you know, I don't ever plan on selling, but you should kind of always have that goal.
Yeah.
Like,
So just having a name that's more recognizable, or just something that can pass on to say, okay.
So it's not about me.
Yeah.
So I don't need to like.
You're not Donald Trump. You don't need Trump over there.
Right? Like the company's so much more than myself now. But if it is just me, then nobody's going to want to buy a company that revolves around me, right?
So where do you say, are you mostly just in Sherwood Park here? Or are you all over Edmonton and surrounding areas?
Yeah, Sherwood Park, Edmonton. Edmonton's just so big. That's where most of the work is.
Yeah.
But we go to Fort Saskatchewan, St. Albert's, Bruce Grove, Leduc. We'll kind of go anywhere. There is some out of town work, but we don't look for that. It's only if an opportunity comes up.
So that when you look back, that initial kind of meeting builders and was it new builds that you got kind of your foot in the door and just kind of started rolling from there?
Yeah. It's funny if you were to go back on all the 12 years and just I never wanted to pin myself to one thing. You know, because housing market comes up and down, and construction and everything's always changing. So I made sure that I was very versatile in having my journeyman ticket. So it started out with new construction, right, with those houses, but it probably grew into furnace replacements, AC installs, and then I was saying, if you look over the years, like one year half the work we did was new construction, and the next year half the work we did was furnace replacements, so it kind of changes with the times, but the big thing for me and the team that we hire, we want versatile. We want you to be able to do a furnace one day, fix a furnace one day, do an air conditioner the next day, you know, things like that.
So is it just mostly furnaces and HVAC, like air conditioning? Do you do like lines to the barbecue, things like that? What is everything that Ignite can do for you?
Sure. So gas line, we're about to be able to do those. So we won't go too far in the history of the sheet metal ticket that I have, but gas is being added to our trade. Okay. So we will be doing gas lines in the future, but we're not right now. So we have a lot of referrals to give out for that. But our main focus is furnace replacements, AC installs, garage heater, for that's like residential houses. We'll do new construction, but we're more focused on custom builders because we're not really a quantity company. Where it's more about quality and making sure that when somebody moves into that house, they're actually going to be comfortable. So there's some new construction. Big thing in Edmonton right now is basement suites and garden suites. So you need secondary heat source and things like that. So anything that's in a house that has airflow is something that we can take care of. And we also do commercial work. We just don't do commercial service work.
Oh, okay, I see. Obviously, I see by the beautiful pictures on your wall, you have a young family.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a transition there. You already spoke about just how, looking after the kids. How do you balance that work life? Because obviously, this probably takes a bulk of your time to just manage that. And your wife's involved too, so it's that work-family kind of balance.
Yeah, it's a real struggle when you first start. I think when people are starting a business or thinking about it, I don't think unless you own a business that you really understand what it's like.
Yeah.
But it's constantly on your mind. Like it never goes away, and especially in those first few years where it's like, if I'm not working, I'm not providing money for our family, right?
Right.
So my kids and my wife are very gracious that there's a lot of dance competitions that I missed, and
yeah.
a lot of Christmases that I missed because I was on call for no heat emergencies. But as the company's growing, I've been able to hire people to help take that stuff off of my plate, and we have a team that's on call now, so that kind of requirement's not there anymore. And we also, it's probably not often heard of in the trades, but we have a 4-day work week.
Oh, nice.
Because for me, I don't want my team to get burned out like I was, or I've heard other companies are. So they work Monday through Thursday, 4/10s, and then they get every Friday off. And so that's just part of the culture that we're trying to build, where families important, and you need to spend time with them, and I don't want you always working here.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's great. I just saw a study on the 4-day work week. I think it's being tested, and they're just showing that people are way more productive and ready to get to work, which is probably the best thing. Especially, I love hearing how you incorporate not just, okay, you're doing one thing, you're doing another, so you come to work and you get that variety of doing something different every day. That keeps everything involved. That's why I do enjoy what I do. But also, so let's just say, okay, we live in Edmonton.
We do.
In my mind, I'm trying to think of, like, everyone somehow has a busy season. I know in summer times we'll get 3 weeks where it just goes nuts and no one can get an air conditioner or all the fans in the city are sold out. When's the busiest season for you guys?
Most people are surprised when I say this, but spring and summer.
Okay.
That's when it really picks up. October, November are usually our busiest months in the year. That's when it starts getting cold. December, people are preparing for Christmas, so tight budgets. January, nobody has money left. And then you get to February and March and April, and it's just kind of that in between season. Where there's not much happening.
Yeah.
So really, it's from April to December we're pretty busy.
Pretty busy.
Yeah.
And what about, like, of course you hear the people that their furnace goes out in the middle of the winter. Do you have any really bad stories of people huddled and burning logs in the living room?
Yeah. There's some situations that I feel pretty bad for those people, but one that comes to mind right when you say that was. I got a call. It was shortly after I started on my own. They called and said, "Hey, we just got home. We were out of town for 2 weeks, and we did have somebody checking our house every 3 days. But when that person checked on the last time before, they never actually started the heat up.
Okay.
So the batteries on the thermostat died, and so it was 3 days without heat at -30." And so when I got to that house, I didn't even take my jacket off because it was the same temperature inside. So I'm sure all their water lines and everything were all frozen. I got the furnace going, and we set the thermostat to 0, and I said, you guys got to do this slow. And
okay, yeah. Tell about that. How, like, you go into a home and if someone comes home and they go, oh my gosh, the furnace up. What's kind of first steps in, I guess, a thaw out? What would it be?
So situations like that, it was just get it above 0, open up your taps, open up water lines where you can relieve that pressure. It's the pressure of the ice freezing that's gonna expand, but potentially in that house, like the pipes were probably already burst somewhere that we could see. It just it was already frozen to find it. But yeah, it's so if you're ever checking someone's house for them, turn the heat on and make sure it turns on.
So if you're leaving on vacation for a few weeks, especially in the winter here, it can get really cold. What are best tips? And I see, like I have one of those. I can control everything from anywhere with my internet connection. Do you want someone checking? Is there? When I go into Home Depot once in a while, I see the heat wraps for things. What types of tricks can you do to make sure that you don't get a pipe burst?
I actually think insurance requires somebody to check your house every 3 days. But the apps on the phone, like that's a game changer because they'll even warn you if you have low temperatures in the house. But the most common service call that we get is dirty air filters. Okay. So when you have a furnace, it's blowing air across the heat exchanger, and if it can't get enough air across that heat exchanger, it overheats and shuts down. And so it's a very simple thing to do: change your furnace filter. Otherwise, if you know that you're going away in a month, just get a maintenance check done on that furnace. That way you can see if the batteries are good, or you can potentially find some problems before they happen. That's where a thing like, I don't know if I can sell myself a little bit, but we have a comfort club. And the whole purpose of the comfort club was I was getting a lot of what I would say nuisance calls where you had dirty filters and I was fixing things that we would have just checked on a maintenance check. Yeah. And so the original idea was that, hey, we'll put your name on a list. We'll call you every year to come and check out your furnace and your air conditioner if you have one. The thing I always heard, like, oh, I keep forgetting to stop at Home Depot and pick up filters. So we'll leave you a year's supply of filters. And then, you just have regular checks and you'll have the filters and all you have to do is remember them. Mm-hmm. And so we'll even send you an email every 3 months saying, hey, change that furnace filter. So
is it 3 months kind of air filters that kind of, or like in this climate, what are you looking at?
There's a wide variety of filters out there. If you have just kind of a simple 1-inch filter, typically it's around 3 months. If you have something that's a little larger, 4 or 5 inches, you're probably every 6 months.
Oh, really?
6 months. But
is there a filter that you recommend more than that can, if you're a forgetful person like myself?
So I would stay away. I won't say the brand of filter because I don't want to burn anyone. But if you're paying a lot of money for a 1-inch filter, it's probably too much for what you really need. I would tell people to buy something more middle grade, not pleated, but it has like some support in it, and it doesn't look like it's trying to pull through a book, right? Yeah. So middle range on price, something that looks like it can move air but still capture that. If you want a higher grade filter, just talk to a company like us so that we can make sure you have the right filters and that your furnace can handle what you're putting in there.
Okay, my wife's been bugging me about some air conditioning units for years now. And I go into my buddy's place. I swear, it's like a freezer in there. I gotta keep my sweater on. I've always wondered what's the optimal kind of temperature. I mean, it probably depends on the house, but what do you want your thermostat set on once it starts getting hot? Because I've seen units kind of get jammed up, or my other neighbor had this happen, but I think he was running it a little bit too cold. What are some kind of tips on how to make sure it keeps running through the summer?
So when we're talking about AC, it's really a comfort thing. I think you were alluding to like a cold basement, right? You go downstairs, it's freezing cold. There's not much that we can do besides trying to add a cold air return to draw that cold air off the floor. But for AC maintenance, cleaning off that outdoor unit, it draws air in from the sides and shoots it out the top. So you'll see dust build up on there. So spray it off with a hose. You don't want to shoot the jet at it because you don't want to bend those fins. Right. But you just want like the shower on there and rinse the dust off. Change your furnace filter, and then temperature wise, I wouldn't go any lower than 20.
Okay.
And I probably wouldn't let it get hotter than 25 in your house, because it's really hard for the AC to recover when you're at high temperatures like that. So somewhere between 20 and 25, whatever's comfortable.
And last but not least, if anyone wants to get in touch with you and get Ignite into their homes or businesses, how would they do that?
Well, first of all, I'd probably say go check Google.
Okay.
Read our reviews. I'm not sure how many we're at, but there's a lot of good things about us on there.
Perfect.
Check out our website. We just kind of rebranded with a new logo, and I don't even have new shirts with the logo on. So igniteheating.ca, and we're on Facebook and Instagram, Ignite Heating, and if you just search that, you'll find us.
Thanks, Dan. This has been great. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more episodes of Young Man's Game.